What's going on, guys? Welcome in here to Rover Sports. I know that this is going to be really late at night for so many people. Maybe we'll get one or two viewers that are up, but it's just great to recap a show here with Sports Doc. It's been such a long time. In terms of our YouTube channel, we still do a lot of Facebook Live shows that we just did, but it's great to have you back on YouTube. And Bruce, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. Saw a few games today, didn't see them all, but we watched the contrasting series of games. Certainly, Eagles Browns was like a complete mud fest, rainy, dreary, mistake-filled game.
Colby,
And
what's
tonight
going
we
on?
saw almost a flawless game. You didn't even deserve to see a loser. Derek Carr was making me my words. I thought that he was a guy who couldn't last deep in the season, couldn't take a team to a winning record, and he went toe-to-toe today with Mahomes, and it was riveting drama right to the last second, and that was just a fun game to watch. And you watched a lot of games today, so let's bounce around the league and give us your thoughts. The New York Giants they did not lose today,
They were dormant.
and they probably remain a half game out of first place.
Right, and it's a lot of pressure going up against a quarterback as terrible as Ryan Finley, because if the Giants can't get the job done next week, there's gonna be so much animosity towards, people are gonna make fun of the Giants. So it's so much pressure. It's almost like you're fighting somebody that is, has one arm or something. That's what the Bengals are right now. But you look at the
I
Cowboys.
have no arms.
You look at the
because their one arm
Is
went
Joe
out with an
Burrow.
ACL tear.
But
So
you
I
look
think
and Finley is
it's
terrible.
hard to say that it's not a trap
It's-
game for the Giants, but
It is a
I
trap.
just
It's
think
tough to
I
get
just
motivated.
think the Bengals franchise has just been horrible,
Right.
and obviously it's a complete rebuilding year, and the fact that they lose the one bright spot, you go back to the Bengals again, and I think the Giants should, run the ball, run out the clock. I think Danny Jones will do what he does. Have a pretty high percentage. He'll run a few, and they'll manage. They'll manage a victory against a very bad Bengals
Yeah.
team that just had its heart cut out today,
Let's
losing their star quarterback.
Let's talk about the games that a lot of people are interested in, some big national storylines. Let's talk about the Raiders-Chiefs game. I thought that was one of the best games of the season. I think the Raiders defense, even earlier in the game, showed great effort. Everybody's going to remember the final drive. But John Gruden, the fact that you get the Chiefs, who are very motivated, by the way, because of the victory laps and because it's a rival, the fact that the Raiders are going toe-to-toe with the Chiefs and are up and winning the game, and Derek Carr comes through with the clutch drive in the end, it's great for the Raiders that those are what the champions are like, and the Raiders seem to be a team that looks like they're right there and can compete in these playoffs, maybe for a Super Bowl.
I thought the Raiders looked very confident. They were playing at home. Admittedly, there's no fans there, no black hole at all. In fact, the only black hole is the empty space where
It
the
is a
fans are.
hole.
And looking at Derek Carr and even guys like Nelson Aguilar, who kind of ended up on the scrap heap here in Philadelphia, made some really good catches. And Derek Carr is in charge, and he's throwing the ball with authority. And John Gruden is just really fun to watch. But Mahomes is a magic man. He can fit it into any window. And Tyreek Hill at the end, and obviously a complete breakdown. It's a shame to see a game end with a mental lapse, defensive breakdown. But look at Travis Kelce. He's the best tight end in the league, if you ask me. He always gets open. He's their go-to guy, and he basically just spiked it right in their face. He just pulled down his pants and mooned them at the very end and said, "Listen, we are the champions, and if you come to our place next year, you better not get the bus to drive around and take victory laps, because they got some sweet revenge in that game."
Best tight end I've maybe ever seen play. I mean, maybe Gronk in his prime. Tony Gonzalez was one that comes to mind. But this guy, Kelsey and Tyreek Hill.
You saw another Hall of Famer
certainly
tonight.
exciting.
So Hall of Famer take a tip of the hat
Of Jason
to Jason Witten, which is a beautiful throw and catch. by Derek Carr, and just there was just so many exciting plays in this game.
How about
Great
the
play
end
calling.
around the rugs, and even the fullback had stone hands. Even
Fullback
Nelson
shot two
Aguilar,
bad drops in a row. Yes.
Aguilar had catchable
I think
balls.
our cat walked away, but he could have. If he comes back, he could have caught those balls.
Stone hands. I'll catch you up. So the Packers, they also go to Indianapolis, and the Colts get a big time win. They come back from down 28-14. They end up winning. So the Colts win and the Titans win. It's going to be a heck of a race in the AFC South. Derrick Henry with the game-winning run. And before the game, the Titans were all like stampeding around the midfield line of the Ravens. I love the rivalry of the Titans and the Ravens. Even after the game, the coaches didn't shake any hands, which John Harbaugh should have shook the hand of Mike Vrabel. That was very disappointing. But you look at the Titans and the Colts, and do you think that that's an exciting little rivalry in the AFC South?
You know, I don't watch a lot of Colts football. I'll be very honest with you. I don't know if I've seen a snap this season.
I'm just trying
not
to
many
stump
people.
you.
Not many people will admit that, but not a team that I'm
Not
all that
many
interested
people
in.
watch 'em.
I'm not interested in the Colts. One thing I am interested in is Drew Lock and the way the Denver Broncos rebounded with a really important victory over the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
To the extent that the Broncos defense really stifled Tua, and Ryan Fitzpatrick was able to come back for an encore in the fourth quarter. It looked pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think Tua, it just wasn't his day. But sometimes a great defense can, and you're going to Denver, it's altitude, can certainly make you look bad. But that was a game I enjoyed.
I'm a huge Tua fan, and some of my concern, like things I love about Tua are his quick release, and he's played so well the last couple of weeks that I was so confident in Tua. I listen to Trent Dilfer, and obviously that's his quarterback coach. But Tua's just a guy who's never failed, ever. He's won national championships. And I said Tua was light years ahead of Burrow and Herbert. I said Tua's the next star. And I was pretty stunned. I mean, this Denver team looked absolutely terrible against the Raiders. Drew Lock threw 4 interceptions. They lost 30-7. The Falcons beat down the Denver Broncos. But that's why these guys are NFL players. Each week is kind of a week in its own. It was very impressive by Denver. Vic Fangio is on the hot seat. He's 4-6. He's 64 years old. It just seems like a dry coaching staff. But for Denver, it was their day today. Here's the thing about Tua Tagovailoa. Is that, and someone's laughing already at a comment. I didn't even try to be funny yet. But Tua Tagovailoa, the thing about him is that he looks very small on the field. He looks like he's 5'8" compared to the defensive back. And today it looked like he was swimming in 19 feet of a whirlpool of water. And every time, you know what a moat is in a castle?
Yep.
Every single time the moat was sinking with water. And he's so small. When you watch Mahomes play against the Raiders defense, he's taller than Tua, and he can escape the pocket so easily. It's like he's gliding. But Tua, every time, it's like they chopped at his legs. It's like they only rushed 3 people, and they always got home on stunts. So he was getting sacked all day long today, and he just looked really small in the pocket. So today was an abysmal day, not only for Tua, but the Dolphins' offense. And that's why they put Fitzy in. And I like Flores is kind of from that Joe Judge tree. He doesn't take any crap. He's a tremendous football coach. I wonder, Bruce, there is a chance that if Tua doesn't get it right, is there a chance, I'm going to ask you, that Fitzy starts the rest of the season and they do have a high pick next year? Do you think that Tua is the long-term guy? How would you assess Tua versus Fitzy right now?
Well, Tua just had a bad game, and he was away in Denver. That's a tough place to play. Drew Lock really had his back against the wall. Drew Lock's statistics before this game were some of the epic worst ever. He was on the edge of being just discarded like so many. He was going to be following Paxton Lynch into the insurance business, and so it was clear that Tua didn't have his best game, but Tua is a remarkable quarterback, very smart, very mobile, and Fitzpatrick is King
Fitz,
Arthur.
he's the man.
He's long in the tooth. He's at the night table.
King Arthur.
And he's going to be out. He's going to be out. And
He's out and
Tua
about, man.
Tua is Sir Lancelot.
Does Lancelot cut the knife of Arthur? Does he take out Arthur?
He cuts the cheese.
But the thing is about
Not really. I'm just making it up because it's late.
no,
so
I like that. But it's
You
funny.
set me up for that
It's
line.
funny. That was
So-
great. Yeah, I
Yeah,
liked
it's a little
It
different.
was all right. It was a little sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is about Tua, though, is that Tua's such a great kid. Like, he was even supporting Fitzpatrick on the final drive. That's what was so exciting.
It was. These guys are very close, and I'd like to see that kind of
Wearing that
sportsmanship.
blue mask, and that's what I really like to see. The blue mask and the face shield of Andy Reid once again. But for Drew
Somehow
Lock,
it's not foggy up. I think he has a special oxygen supply. So Andy Reid does
He
that.
can fit in those
He's
burgers.
got the anti-fog. He could gotta fit those cheeseburgers in.
are you starting to hate Andy Reid? Because you know what,
No.
Andy Reid. Here's the thing about Andy Reid. We used to always make fun of Reid because he had this time management. But now that Reid has the time management, and he has the best quarterback. He's starting to become that fat guy that actually starts getting the really hot chicks. Because you're talking about a fat guy who was really good in school, got all the good grades. Now he's getting all the hot chicks. Like Andy Reid just has everything. And when you're winning, that's when you start to get hated on. That's why I was rooting for the Raiders, because when you're the top dog, everyone wants to see you fall. And I love Mahomes. I love the rise of Mahomes. But tonight I was definitely rooting for the Raiders. But about Drew Lock, I think Lock has all the talent. Do you think that Fangio stays the year? What do you think's going to happen?
I think so. I think this is a crazy year. We had a stream earlier on Philadelphia media. We are Rover Sports. I'm Sports Doc here with Spencer G. For some of you who are logged in
That
for the
was
first
well
time.
placed. That was professional there. Professional claimer.
Thanks. So your question originally had to do with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, well, Fangio.
I believe that Fangio, their defense, he's a defensive coach. Their defense created havoc for the Miami Dolphins, and there's only a few games left in the season. So if your question is, will Fangio make it to the end of the season? Absolutely. Could he be replaced by a younger, more offensive coach? Quite possibly.
Let's have some fun on this segment and troll the Jets fans. Our fun segment.
Okay.
What is the best path for the Jets to still rebuild but remain horrible? If
Well, I
you're
think
an
they got.
owner-
Excuse me. Yeah, I think they're gonna keep losing, and I think they got a tag for Trevor, and there's no
but
doubt.
Trevor will keep them. Trevor will make them good. I'm trying to think of a way to keep them.
You don't want to keep them bad. Listen,
Keep
I
them
believe
bad.
that tanking here in Philly, where we had the Sixers tanking, it's bad karma. When you tank, when you teach people how not to win, it makes you like our franchise is here in Philly.
I think that Dable.
It was a complete waste of
You
time.
look at Brian Dable. He has the personality of a dry erase board. He looks like a perfect candidate for the New York Jets. They're going to be eyeing him up. You look at Justin
Need to
Fields.
continue tanking, you mean?
Here's the thing. Yes. I'm just joking around like a way that they could still mess it up because Trevor Lawrence will actually be very good in the NFL. He's 6'5". He runs like a gazelle. How could Trevor Lawrence fail? But you look at Justin Fields, I'll tell you why he could fail. He's 6'2". He has the same mechanics as Carson Wentz. He has that chicken wing elbow when he throws the football. And you look at, and he has no adversity in the pocket, Bruce. When you watch Ohio State, he has the cleanest pocket, and he never throws to the middle of the field. He only throws one-on-one go balls to the outside. Those are the easiest throws to make. When you look at Kyle Trask is elevating a Florida team that doesn't really have a great offensive line and doesn't really have a tremendous running back. Kyle Trask makes next level throws, has dealt with tons of adversity in his life because he's never been a starting quarterback in high school. He was the backup quarterback at his varsity high school. I think Kyle Trask is the man. I think the guy's awesome.
I've enjoyed it.
Second best quarterback.
I've certainly enjoyed it. I've watched his interviews. He's kind of cliche, but he's a
Huge
young guy.
personality.
He's a young guy. That's okay. And but I like Trask, and who can't like Lawrence? And with Fields,
I like Fields, too.
Fields is
a good
he
guy.
plays for a really good franchise, the Ohio State Buckeyes franchise. There are a lot of guys who've been disguised as good quarterbacks. They've come into the league and been unmasked as not so great. I think Dwayne Haskins can certainly.
That comes to mind.
He's
the
a guy who
poster
comes to
child
mind
of that example.
immediately. And
Troy Smith, Terrell Pryor.
Yep. And
There hasn't been
so
a
I
good
think-
Ohio State quarterback ever.
I believe
In
I
the
see
league, maybe
that
not.
tomorrow we're going to be doing a primetime YouTube feed. It's going to be a Monday night job. We're going to be doing a little bit, maybe even a little bit of a watch party. But I
Bucks, Rams.
want to just thank everybody for logging into the show. It's 2 a.m. in the East, and I've got to, I'm duty bound to.
Keep you hostage.
I got to stick some needles into some people's spines tomorrow. So I want to thank everybody for logging in. A lot of
right.
people know you, Spencer, and I come in
Thank you,
occasionally.
Top Streams.
Usually producing these shows, I'm usually very anonymous, but I appreciate the chance to get on camera
you were
tonight.
not anonymous.
And everybody
Raphael,
there.
I appreciate everybody.
Raphael,
These
you
are
guys are great
unbelievable
people.
people. That these people that they watch the product, but also that they compliment us, that they're a part of the show. These are unbelievable people. These are great.
Appreciate
people.
that.
I really want to
And,
thank them.
I appreciate good chemistry tonight on the show. It was
Good
late,
chemistry.
but good.
Good vibes. PVO.
Good vibes. We
Positive vibes only.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
So in any event,
Happy Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving,
Positive
everybody.
vibes only.
PVO.
PVO.
Good
at all
night
times.
and good sports.